This is Stephen Levine, CFO of Let's Talk Bitcoin. As someone who pays bills with Bitcoin, I find it immensely satisfying that I can pay our designer in Canada quickly and easily. A couple of button clicks and Bitcoin moves over miles and borders, unfettered by overbearing bureaucracy. It is our goal here at Let's Talk Bitcoin to create structures that allow Bitcoin and all of its descendants to thrive and grow into the safe, free, and fair invention that Satoshi wrote about. In my spare time, I'm also the president of Bitcoin Packaging. BitcoinPackaging.com makes it easy to use your currency of choice to purchase mundane products. We empower you to change the financial world by spending your Bitcoin. When you buy a product from BitcoinPackaging.com with Bitcoin, we will send you a 10% rebate off of the already low prices. BitcoinPackaging.com is a virtual company. We have no warehouse, trucks, or salespeople. Come to our store, take a look around, spend some Bitcoin and tell your friends. BitcoinPackaging.com.
So, Robbie, one of the, we're running out of time, but it's been really interesting watching Counterparty in comparison to some of the other projects out there, because you guys, like you said, just came out in early January. The project formed, I think, in November or December, right? You haven't been around too long at all.
It was. We really got to start cracking on the code for the reference client in mid-November, and then the Counterwallet development started in, I think, mid to late January. So we really just got in there, and we saw a need just to really simplify and optimize things around the concept of finance, which is a niche, but it's a huge niche, and really just release stuff quickly, release working code, iterate rapidly, and just get this open platform concept out to people and just let them build.
It's a great platform. So I've been testing it out since basically it hit testnet, and I've now had to move my wallets, I think 3 or 4 times. And I'm wondering if you can kind of enlighten me. I know that there have been some security issues. What's going on with that? Is this something that I need to be concerned about? And am I going to need to move my wallet too many more times? Because it's a little bit time consuming.
Yeah, no, to that point. So I think anyone who's been a Counterparty user from the start, we had one security issue with Counterparty D back. It was a number of months ago. And it was just a certain vulnerability with the use of multi-sig inputs. So anyhow, out of that, what came out of that is that we really gave a whole look down through the entire code. We brought on Sergio Lerner, who is just a recognized Bitcoin security researcher. He's found and fixed a number of flaws in Bitcoin itself. He did a full audit of the Counterparty D reference client, gave it a thumbs up. We identified a few minor issues that would just cause it to crash, and there were no loss of funds issues that we identified. And it passed that audit pretty well. We've also are working with Peter Todd. He's going to be doing a second security audit of the reference client here shortly. So that's with the reference client. So the Counterparty D reference client, as far as we see it, it's really stable. It's had a number of really qualified eyes looking at it. For instance, if you're going to build a business around Counterparty D, it has a full API, and we recommend that people use the Counterparty D reference client directly. So the other thing that you brought up was Counterwallet, the web wallet. To answer your question, no, I don't anticipate there's going to be any more wallet moves. Really, the reason was for that is that we initially started up with this Bitcoin JavaScript library called Bitcoin JSLib. The library was like a I think it came together initially. Some people in the community just started hacking around on the JavaScript library, and this is what came out of it. And there's been a number of people that have touched it, but it's been kind of like an organic development process around it. We had a number of problems. They had just added on the deterministic or HD wallet support to it. There's basically Bitcoin JSLib. There's a great, really smart guy, Daniel Cousins, who's really doing a lot of development around it to really bring it up into shape and get it really high quality, put in a lot of tests around it, unit tests and things like that. But we were kind of caught in that whirlwind. And so what we did as a response to that is we essentially moved from Bitcoin JSLib. Just this past week, we moved to Bitcore, which is BitPay's JavaScript Bitcoin library that I'm sure many people are listening to this are familiar with. So we're using Bitcore today. We've had the Bitcore development team themselves take a look at our implementation. They've given it a thumbs up. We've had a few other Bitcoin JavaScript experts looking at it. We've had a web security researcher who also specializes in Bitcoin. He's doing a security audit and doing penetration testing of the wallet. CSP or content security policy compliant now. We really moved to as stable a platform as possible around this and implemented all these security standards and headers and to really make the wallet as secure as possible. So from the wallet standpoint, to answer your question, there should not be any more address changes. The security of the wallet's looking really good now. And we're just continuing to develop things, but I'm feeling pretty good about the wallet itself right now, and then feeling really good about the Counterparty D reference client itself.
So the one aspect that we haven't really touched on yet is actually the token that is the native currency of Counterparty, and it is XCP. The times that I've used it, disclosure, I have some. Generally disclosure, I have all cryptocurrencies, so just assume that. The only thing I've used XCP for so far has been to create new assets to test the features and stuff like that. And I don't think that those payments are going to anybody. What happens to the 0.5 XCP that I spend, quote unquote, to create a new asset?
Yeah. So when you create a new asset, that XCP is essentially destroyed. The total supply is lowered by that 0.5 amount. So it's not, we don't have anything in the protocol that when you create an asset or do something else, it sends money to somebody. There's no profit model or profit motive anywhere within Counterparty. And as the Counterparty founders, our lone economic incentive with this is we're just investors in XCP itself.
Besides creating an asset, explain to me what is the value of having a currency like XCP? What does it enable you to do that you can't do with a project like Colored Coins?
Counterparty has all this functionality with it. And the problem by having an embedded consensus system is essentially you can't escrow Bitcoins and arbitrarily escrow. There are things like multisig, but you really need to know the people beforehand and create that multisig transaction and then throw the Bitcoin up into it and deal with that. But the way that we use it, you essentially can't escrow these Bitcoins. So we have XCP. We're not fans of having something where you have to use XCP for some arbitrary reason where there's no technical reason under it. So really right now you use XCP for a few things. So it's used for the asset creation. It's used for callable assets when you want to call an asset back. So you have an asset out there. You say, after this date, I have the option to call this asset back or some percentage of the outstanding asset that's out there on the market to call it back for this price. So it's an option. Callable assets aren't required when you create an asset, but you can do that. So that price is paid in XCP, and then also XCP is most significantly used with hedging and betting. It's used for the betting itself as well as the betting fees. So when you create a bet with somebody, or you open up a CFD to do hedging, because we need an apples to apples comparison and you can't escrow Bitcoin, XCP is used on both sides of the bet or the hedge. That's really where XCP is of use.
Robbie, I think we're definitely going to have you back. There are more topics that we did not have time to get to. Let's get kind of big picture and visionary here for a second. Can you talk to me about what happens if you guys succeed with what you're attempting to do here?
I think the functionality here definitely has big aspirations of applications here. And I'm an entrepreneur. I have a 20-some technology company back here in North Carolina. For me personally, I think the big exciting part of Counterparty is the fact that we're creating this open platform where you essentially just put it out there and then you can have these businesses and developers just do whatever with it. Every time I hear of a new business or a new effort coming on Counterparty, and there's been several ones, and we're talking to a number of these folks. It's really, really exciting because that's really the whole purpose of the platform. We would just want to create this open and unencumbered technology where people can just utilize it and add value to it, like real value, not pump and dump, but just value that grows over time and hopefully only gets bigger. That's really where the rubber hits the road. I think over time, just having this organic process as more people build on top of the platform, the most exciting applications to me are really the ones that we haven't thought of. So there have been some things like digital tangible trust, good example. That's a really cool and innovative way how they're using these digital tokens to represent gold coins. And there's been a number of ones, the fact that Vend came out of the community. Just really looking forward to more of that, working with the community. We believe, at least in the finance space, these are the pioneers. These are the early adopters that are really defining what decentralized crypto finance is, how it will work, and what it will look like. And so it's really exciting for us to be a part of this and to be working with these folks on this technology.
So if somebody'd like to learn more about Counterparty or get involved, how do they do that?
You can go to counterparty.co. The Counter Wallet website, you can get started with a wallet really quickly, is counterwallet.co.
Robbie, thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you.